Good evening. So let us talk about market outlook for the next week. So I have chart of Nifty in front of me. This is the Nifty weekly chart, and as we can see, the Nifty is in a kind of a sideways downtrending market for the last many weeks. Actually, since October 2021, we are seeing some kind of a sideways corrective move. And if you see the latest candle in no bank Nifty, see there is definitely some bearishness is showing on because markets were falling. We saw some bounce, but it has taken resistance almost near the 20 EMA, and from there it has fallen further. And last Friday we saw a sharp fall in the index. So and plus the SGX Nifty closing on the Friday, and the US markets are also suggesting some weakness. So I'm expecting we'll see some down gap down opening tomorrow. That looks like given. So let us go to the daily chart, and there also we can see. So see the markets were trying to give a pullback from, but after giving a pullback of some kind, it has faced resistance and now falling down. So uh, some down move is expected now on the broadly on the higher time frame like daily. So let us see the nearest, I think, support we may see based on the price action is at this 15,900 swing zone. Like before that we have some support if we want to draw at this roughly around 16,000 level, right? 16,000 to 16,050 kind of level may act as a support. And if market really gaps down as SGX Nifty suggesting tomorrow, or after some gap down starts moving down, these levels can be tested, and before we see some bounce. So let us go to the lower time frame, and I will just hide some of those channels for you. So lower time frame also, if we kept down, so roughly around about, I think 16,000 is the odd level we have to watch for, and how market behaves there, and then we'll take a call what the markets are doing. Now one thing is there, on Thursday we saw an unexpected up move towards 16,500, which was a trap, kind of a bull trap, I would say. And on Friday we saw a huge gap down already, and then we saw almost continuous fall, and the closing was also okay, just at 16,200. On the lower time frame, if we see, there was some mild bounce, but overall it closed near the lows of the day. And now if there is a one more gap down tomorrow morning, let's say somewhere around this zone, then market will might again see some selling in the morning before seeing a bounce. Although I'm expecting that we might see some bounce back also in the Nifty, which will be that just a corrective pullback, and uh, because markets are already fallen this much. uh, from Elliott point of view, I would just say that no, this is a complex correction, as we have already seen. So this looks like some kind of an A, B, C, X, A, B, and now C going on. Other way, okay, other way to look at it is like looking this entire move as A, then and this as B, and this as C. Okay, maybe I can draw for you. So the A, B, and now C going on, which we are expecting to end somewhere below the recent swing low. The recent swing low here is 15,671. So if we look a market in this way, okay, then we are already done with three waves of this C wave. 1, 2, 3. Okay, this is the fourth going on, and we are likely to see, we are likely in the fifth wave, which is the last wave of this entire ABC move. And once that is completed, we are expecting the market to show some up move. Now the fundamental and macro situation like now not in very much alignment with that hypothesis, but market can and will do anything. So there is no reason to believe that this may not happen. I think the market can fall out towards this channel low of 15,400, 450 uh, be, as a knee-jerk reaction, or as a sharp reaction, and before we start seeing a pullback, because many stocks have fallen a lot, many heavyweight stocks also. So we may see a pullback because some buying emerges. uh, Whether that will happen or not, only time will tell. But right now we are just going with this hypothesis. In any case, the short term trend is down. Short term trend is down, so we are likely to see lower levels in the coming days, towards 16,000, 1500, 900 levels. And then we might see some pullbacks in between, and then fall again towards lower levels. So that is the overall trajectory. Now immediately tomorrow, if there is a gap down, so intraday immediately it may be very difficult to sell. So we have to see price action intraday, how market behaves, because there are literally no stop losses, right? If I think everyone will be, I mean, a lot of people might be short in this market. The, there is likely to be not too many longs, because if the longs were built here, okay, in this zone, because of this gap down and market falling sharply thereafter, so those longs would exited. And some longs may be here, but not too much, because the overall trajectory is down. So no major longs here. In that case, what will happen is, the, we are assuming that there are more shorts in the system, and therefore whenever there is a gap down, only pullback will be related to some short-term profit booking, and there won't be short covering. Okay, so which might give market more legs to fall further, because if people are seeing large profits on their short position, and plus there are no immediate sign of a reversal, they might choose to hold those positions. Now this is just from a psychological point of view, overall this levels. So if we are lucky, or if bulls are lucky, market may see a minor gap down towards, let's say, 16 130, 140 kind of level. We might see a pullback towards this channel of 16 150. Market may spend time there and then choose to fall down. uh, that is also happens. Let us see how tomorrow morning opening is in the Asia. But looking at the US and European closing and overall scenario, I think there we might see a major gap down of at least 100, 150 points. uh, okay, so, and one more advice is that this is a very volatile and tricky market to trade. So if you are not very comfortable, or if you are not seeing opportunity, don't force yourself to trade in this market. Sell, overall it is a sell on rallies, but we are seeing major, some strange moves, like suddenly market one day gaps down, and then and the second day gaps down, and we see a large up move, then again we see a gap down and all that. So lot of those gaps creates a lot of problem. So let us now look at Bank Nifty. Bank Nifty is more or less the same scenario, and it is also falling. Now, based on some analysis of if we look at the Fibonacci ratios, I mean, it is the structure of Bank Nifty is also more or less like Bank Nifty, and I think we are seeing some more bearishness in the Bank Nifty also. From this broader weekly channel point of view, Bank Nifty lower level comes near this 31,000 or even 30,000 kind of zone, if it takes more time. But for immediate purpose, if we see, I'm just looking at the retracement of uh, uh, this current up move, which started from 33,150 odd levels towards the recent high of 36,000 plus, and we are seeing a retracement. We have already seen a 50% retracement, so now we are and we have almost seen actually 61% retracement. Now, as long as this zone would have is held, we were not in danger. But now it looks like that we are seeing a gap down. So that means now we are actually going to fall much below. Now this retracements are of no use. That means markets are going down. So it is in most likelihood is likely to make a new low at least below this swing lows, recent swing lows we have seen here. If you want, I can mark it for you. So okay, where is the eraser? Okay, if you want, I can mark it for you. This swing lows we have seen here. So we are likely to see a low being made below the swing levels, roughly around somewhere around 32,500 is also possible, and overall it may fall up to 30,000 as well. So we have to keep that in mind when there is a bearishness in the market. It's better to respect the trend and don't not try to go long in a hurry. Okay, intraday you can take trades if you are comfortable, but otherwise be very careful in the markets, and choose not to trade. Not trading is also a very important trading decisions, because volatility will take up away your profits and your capital as well. Okay, having said that, most of the sectoral indices are also showing weakness. Even the likes of HDFC Bank, if we see after pulling up sharply, I was expecting that this will be no, this will be just a pullback and we will see some more uptrend. But now they are falling more, so it is likely that HDFC Bank is also going to join uh, in the fall, one and we might see further fall, and in that case we may again retest loss as well. Same is happening with HDFC. In fact, HDFC has already seen a heavy sell off. If you see, it is again going back to those recent low levels. So no respite that, and I think Bank Nifty now is going to see further weakness, because if markets are going to fall, it will be no, all the major indices. So Bank Nifty, along with that IT also, which is where we had seen some pullback, and we expected that this some kind of move is ending here, and there will be pullback. I mean, I was expecting that it will stop here, but now looking at the overall weakness, it may fall further, and even it is possible that we might see a new low also, uh, because overall, if we see overall, let us see weekly chart. Okay, okay. You see weekly chart. See there is still no strength. So we are still falling. We saw a minor pullback, but it has taken a resistance near this 75 EMA, which I use, and from there we have again seen falling, and there is no major strength being shown here. That is the case with a lot of, lot of IT stocks. There is no strength here, right? In between, we saw small blip. In overall scheme of thing, that is just a very minor pullback. Yeah, it may be that they are coming near their no bottom, so we might see some bottoming out uh, at little lower level. That is visible, but right now we are seeing weakness, and we have to correlate everything with the overall no fundamental macroeconomic scenario at local, domestic, as well as a global level. And you know that there are many factors against us, very high inflation, rising interest rates, oil pricing very high, and geopolitical tension and all that. So business are expecting that it will impact their performance, and that is why we are seeing a lot of selling, especially by FIIs. So as long as FIIs keep selling, uh, we will see pressure in the market, and even though DIIs and retail investors are buying, but that alone is not able to pull the markets higher. Only thing is it is arresting the fall. So because of that, we see that broadly markets are in a sideways fashion, and it's not, we have not seen a huge fall. Otherwise, uh, if there was no there wasn't this much support from the retail investors, we would have seen a 20-25% fall in the market, looking at the kind of selling we are seeing by the FIs. Now, having said that, other heavyweights like Reliance, you see Reliance fell. We have identified this short position, then it rose and bounced back sharply, again went towards its almost all-time high levels, and from there again it is seeing some selling pressure. And if I go to lower time frame chart, uh, so see, this fall was there, then there was some rise, and again there is going to be some fall. Now there may be two things. One, overall, from an Elliott point of view, I was expecting that this entire fall would be in the form of A, B, C. Now that would be a little scary, because in that case Reliance has to actually make a low either near or slightly below the recent low, and the recent low comes at 2370, and Reliance currently is trading at 2700. So that much fall will cause a huge fall in Nifty as well. If we let go that scenario, then also what is happening is, right now, whenever the prices comes uh, near the all-time high, it is going to face some resistance. We are going to see profit booking, because a lot of these guys who might have entered long somewhere in this zone is are going to book their profits. Plus there might be some it might attract some short sellers also, because for short term it remains a good strategy. So Reliance may see some further fall also, because over the markets are also weak. But it as long as it is holds this level of 2670, 2650, we will still have a hope that it will break on the upside, and eventually will make a new all-time high. In that case, what is happening here is, say, see, to break all-time highs requires a major force and major buying support in the market. So what they are trying to do is, if that is the case, what operators trying to do is, they are trying to create shorts in Reliance, so that eventually they can trap those short sellers uh, by pulling trigger and giving some buying pressure. So they're buying, as well as all those short squeeze, or short people squaring of their position, will give enough force to the stock, uh, will enough give force to the stock to even break the all-time high and move higher towards 2900, 2950, or 3000 kind of zone. So that may be the case. And one scenario, other scenario, highly bearish scenario, is that we are seeing an ABC for pullback, and in that case Reliance is again going to give up on this entire gain, at least. So keep that in mind, and just remember that anything can happen. I mean, here, whenever we are talking about Reliance being very weak, and giving kind of a big fall, no one was ready to believe, but it has happened. The fall came really sharp. Okay, highly rewarding if you were on the short side. The pullback, in a way, came in tranches. Although there were some large candles, but it looked like that there is a lot of pushing going on, so as to push the index on the higher side. But again, now we are seeing weakness across the board. So that it may happen that this pullback, even if it doesn't come near this lower levels of 2350 or so, the pullback may be kind of deeper in nature. So that may happen, and so in that case what we'll do is we'll simply look at Fibonacci retracements. So here is it. So if we expect minimum, which we already discussed, then it comes around 2644. So we are anyways expecting 2670, 2650 kind of zone to be retested. If there is a more weakness, we may see 2600 and even 2540 kind of levels also. The pullbacks can be deeper also. So keep that in mind. And there are actually right now there are not many stocks which gives any kind of signal on the long side, and because markets are also very weak, So keep in mind that many stocks are also like the likes of Sun Pharma. Even in pharma is also weak, and Sun Pharma is also eventually actually breaking its very long-term channel. Okay, this was a long-term channel which is being broken, and if it keeps breaking, actually, if it keeps it breaks actually 800 level, then I think we are going to see a fall deeper towards the 700 levels, and which is very much possible looking at the overall structure. And if we look at the long-term structure, you see there was a huge falls from 2000, I think 15 towards this March 2022 low. Sun Pharma was trading weak, so there was a huge fall in Sun Pharma, huge fall, and then we saw a pullback because the pharma sector did very good in this pandemic era. Okay, once the COVID started in early 2020, and from March 2020 lows, we saw a rally in many stocks, especially in the pharma and FMCG stocks and plus IT stocks. So this entire rally can be attributed, majority of it can be attributed to the pandemic related no kind of business. And of course, most of the pharma companies did a very robust business in this time, but now that advantage has gone, and we are seeing that their valuations are very high, and so that is why most of the pharma companies are seeing some kind of a corrective move. So we have seen that Cipla also, no, after hitting almost 1080 levels, recently tested 900 levels, and it is also likely to fall further. One more low towards 900 or lower levels is also possible. So there is so this we have to see all this because we are trying to see that are there sectors which can lend support to the market, and currently there are no major sectors in the market which can lend support. Single-handedly, Reliance and ITC has helped a lot. Nifty. We have seen, this is the ITC stock, and we have seen this rally in the ITC in the last few weeks, actually a few months, and along with that, we saw some up move in we saw a very good up move in Reliance also again, and plus some of the stocks like IT and some of the banking name were also seeing some kind of pullback after they fell sharply, and also the like of auto sector. So we saw some rallies in the auto stocks also. Even if you see Bajaj Auto, so these rallies helped the market to pull on the higher side, and in a way, arrested the fall. But now again we are seeing some weakness in the market, so uh, we have to keep in mind those factors, and only when Nifty actually signals a bottoming, and we see some decent price volume activity, then only we can say that we are likely to see some kind of a pullback. Now, how far this correction can go, it is very difficult to say for sure. Actually, we have discussed some of the Elliott scenarios, and based on that, plus looking at the overall price, looks like a sideways market. So it will make some lows here, and then it is like possible that market go in, still move in a kind of sideways fashion before we see an up move. For an up move, so because from an Elliott point of view, when the fourth ends, the fifth wave generally is very quick, so it takes very less time. uh, so it is very quick, so we can see some kind of move, fast move towards the all-time high and higher. Okay, now if that has to happen, let us say from here, if something like that happens, okay, sorry, this is ABC, that move will be in the form of 1 2 3 4 5. So if that is the case, like something like this, okay, then it has to be really fast, and for that we need some trigger. Okay, now what could be the trigger? I right now don't say anything. The only trigger can be some good news from the Russia Ukraine war. If we see that some good news or some kind of ceasefire being no, announced voluntarily by Russia, seeing that they have already no, achieved a lot in the war, um, then only that kind of sharp up move is possible. No, that is because I am trying to connect the dots along with all the entire fundamental scenario. So that may be the case. So let us see what happens. So till then, just try to be a wise trader. As an investor, as a long-term investor, you have a lot of time and you should have a lot of patience. So you should not get moved by this kind of move. Even when market falls towards 14,000, you should not be worried as long as you are a long-term, your whatever your portfolio for long-term, and when you are in a really good quality names, no worries about that. But in the short term, we are going to see a lot of volatility in the market. All right. So thanks for watching. I'm closing for now, and let us see what happens, and we'll meet again next week. Bye.